Moving on, the United States is deploying the Pacific-based USS George Washington to West Asia, reportedly relieved the USS Abraham Lincoln. Officials say that this sends one of the longest combat deployments by a U.S. aircraft carrier in recent history. According to the Wall Street Journal, the move comes after the Lincoln spent 266 days deployed, including over 200 consecutive days without a port call. Officials warn of growing concerns over living conditions aboard the Lincoln and the strain on troops during the Iran war. However, the Pentagon has reportedly described the deployment as a scheduled carrier rotation. The replacement has drawn attention to the growing strain on the U.S. Navy's fleet and personnel after months of sustained operations in the region. Now, the USS George Washington aircraft carrier, accompanied by the cruiser USS Robert Smalls and destroyer USS Shaw, it recently transited the Strait of Malacca and entered the Andaman Sea en route to West Asia. Earlier, U.S. President Trump had said that Lincoln's deployment had not lasted long enough. He also confirmed the Lincoln is expected to be replaced by another carrier. Trump's comments come as relatives of sailors describe deteriorating conditions aboard the ship, including shortages of food and basic supplies, sanitation issues, and mental health status of the crew. Recently, the wife of one of the service members aboard USS Lincoln, she responded to Trump's comments, calling them infuriating. Analysts say that both Iran and China are closely monitoring the USS carrier's rotation, viewing it as more than a routine naval deployment. For Tehran, the USS Abraham Lincoln's prolonged deployment is likely to reinforce its strategic belief of outlasting American military presence through endurance instead of confrontation. Beijing, meanwhile, is keeping a close eye on the diversion of George Washington. This could offer China insight into America's force readiness and how the U.S. reallocates military assets between the Indo-Pacific and the Gulf. The situation in whole raises concerns about USS readiness and global strategic commitments. The USS George H.W. Bush, another U.S. Navy aircraft of the same class as George Washington, it has been deployed in West Asia for 4.5 months as of this week. With only 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers in active service, including George Washington, the U.S. Navy has little room for prolonged conflicts. Analysts warn that extended deployments not only exhaust crews, but they also extend maintenance and repair cycles. And this keeps carriers docked for longer and impacts fleet's readiness for future crises.